Okay, John Livier here, your host of Serious and Silliness Bodybuilding, and I have a special guest, Angela Saloma. Angela is I guess you could say, wife or fiance
Yes.
of the late Danny Broadhurst. How you doing, Angela?
Good. I'm good. Thank you.
Oh, good, good. Um, so Danny was my friend. What had happened was I interviewed him. Danny was on, if people don't know, Danny was on the cusp of turning pro as a professional bodybuilder. He was a national level bodybuilder. And I had interviewed him to come on when I believe he broke the top five in, was it the Nationals or I think it was the Nationals that he broke the top five. And at that point, if you break the top five at a show like the Nationals, it's just a matter of time before you turn pro. Okay. So and then we became friends and he came on, and then I got the job on muscular development, and he was on muscular development with me. And then tragedy struck and he passed about a year ago, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Almost.
And so for the most part, you're here to explain and tell that story.
Yeah. I just want to say that I'm sorry to everybody that has messaged me, DM'd me, everything. The fans, friends. It's just been hard. Till now, I feel like I feel a little better. I mean, obviously, I'm never gonna feel fully better, but
Mm.
I reached out to John and I said, I think I'm ready. I'm ready to, tell you what happened. And, Danny was on your podcast, I remember every week.
Yeah.
And I used to get home from work and he was already on the podcast. We met you in New York. So I know you were a big part of Danny's life. And so that's why I was like, John's the best person to reach out to and let him know what happened. And, that way his fans could know because Danny was like, he was obsessed with his fans. He would answer them at any time that they would message him. If it was, midnight, whatever time it was, he was always there. And I do feel bad that I haven't been able to message each one of them, but it's a lot of them.
Right.
And I didn't know how many people were following him. I didn't know how known he was. I didn't think any of this.
Mm.
And when he passed, it's just like, wow, like he was very well known, especially in the Bay Area.
Yeah. Well, he was well known in bodybuilding, the hardcore bodybuilding scene. He was very well known.
Yeah.
And he was on the cusp of turning pro, so much so that he had Milo Sarchev as a trainer.
Yeah.
And Milos was training him, and they were training him to turn pro, and he probably would have. He had plans to. And yes, he was on my podcast when we did muscular development every week, and he was a wealth of knowledge. And what Danny was, I've had Dave Palumbo on my channel, Jason Arns, which Fackery, and these guys are extremely intelligent when it comes to bodybuilding.
Yeah.
Danny was probably better than all of them. And
Yes.
I'm not um like just saying that. There, if you go, I don't even know. They probably took him off on muscular development because I ended me and musculardevelopment.com ended poorly.
I
So
heard that.
yeah, yeah, it didn't go well. It did not go well. And I don't even know if that YouTube channel is still up, but if it is and you were to go on, he would argue, but not friendly argue with Jason Arns, Fackery over, and I would just lay back because by this point I don't know what anybody's talking about, right? I don't know the inner biology of the body and the how the drugs work to the specifics that Danny was able to explain. He was brilliant when it came to that, and that is not, I am not exaggerating whatsoever. Um, yes, and he did come out to the New York Pro, and we met, and you came, and I met you when you were at the New York Pro. But before we get into Danny's passing, let's talk about how you guys met because you had a tight, tremendous relationship.
Yeah. So my brother was Danny's best friend, which is Francisco Saloma. And I used to never go to my brother's competitions. I used to just, when he used to let us know that he was going to compete, we would be like, okay, brother, okay. Like. And then the first competition that I went to see him was in LA, and he was with Danny. And Danny, because I'm the youngest of five, um, Danny was expecting, I guess, to see my brother's sister to be like a grandma or something. And, like, Francisco, where's your sister? So we can help her walk out to the convention center. And he's like, oh, she'll be here shortly. So when Francisco obviously told him, oh, that's my sister, he's like, you never told me you had a young sister.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So from there, we kind of like started talking, and obviously for me, it was kind of like, um, I've never been around a guy that's like extra heavyweight like this. Like,
A guy that big,
but
yeah. 'Cause Danny
okay,
was big. I think there was a point he was over 300 pounds, right?
yes, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it was big. Yeah,
And I was like, what? And for me, my brother was big, but to see Danny, it was like, whoa.
yeah.
And so yeah, we started talking. Then my nephew passed, one of my nephews, my brother Francisco's son, and I saw Danny again at his funeral.
Mhm.
And he was very nice. He was there for my family, and we just started talking. And he was always really sweet, and he was like a big teddy bear. And some people were scared of him because of his body, but it was like, oh, he was so sweet. And from there, yeah, we started dating, and I told him, like, run, I have 3 kids, you don't want to date. And he's like, don't worry, I have a dog, which I have her right now.
Yeah, I saw. We saw. Yeah, yeah.
He's bugging me. And he's like, don't worry, I have a dog. And I'm like, okay. So yeah, we made it work. And since then, I actually moved into the unit, like, on top of his,
Mhm.
and he was always in my apartment. Like, he was never in his. So he's like, do you just want to move in together? We're two apartments. And I'm like, yeah, you're always here. Might as well. So that's when we decided to move in together. And we were together till he passed. And yeah, and the the most horrible thing was that, we had a lot of things that we had planned, and they just didn't happen.
Yeah. Now he was close with one of your sons. I remember him telling me that he used to take your son to either some sporting events or help him with his
And
homework.
he was like the greatest stepfather to Junior. So Junior is the youngest one,
Okay.
and Junior lives with me full time. My girls live with dad.
Right, right, right.
Don't have anything through court or anything. It's just that we decided that. So Junior is always with me, and he actually would see Danny as not just my boyfriend or my fiance, like a stepdad. When his dad wasn't there for anything that, like sports or whatever, he knew Danny would be there.
Mhm.
And Danny's parents have always been involved too. So that was really nice. And till this day, things that I can't figure out when it comes to computers, my son's like, see, if Danny would be here, he would be fixing it. And I'm like, oh man. So, we get sad, but
Yeah, that's you're actually right. Didn't he do that? Didn't he rebuild computers and sell
yeah,
them? He
yeah.
did, right? Yeah. Okay, I remember that.
And I actually sold one of his computers because I didn't know what to do with it.
Right.
And they gave me really good money for it, which I was like, what?
Mhm.
And yeah, they were like, wow, who built this? I'm like, oh, my fiance. They're like, wow, this is like high tech. So
Yeah, he was like scary smart, Danny.
yes,
He really was. I mean, he had his demons. We'll get into it,
of
but
course.
intellectually, he was scary smart. It was
Yeah,
unbelievable. I used to tell him that he would probably be like the next Milos
yeah.
because he was so in depth and so detailed when it came to bodybuilding, and that's what makes a great trainer, right?
Mm.
And I always say this. Matter of fact, I was having this conversation with Lee Priest on my show. Um, And we always say like the greatest athletes in a sport never become great coaches. It's always the guys that really have to work hard to get there and put the work in because they have to learn the finest detail just to get a step ahead. And they have to understand the human body and they have to understand it. And if you look at bodybuilding, that's generally what happens. I mean, Milos is an exception to the rule. He was kind of in the top 10 in the world at one point. But you look at guys like Aceto and Farah and Dave Palumbo, and these guys were decent bodybuilders, but they became incredible trainers. And I used to say that to Danny. I was like, yeah, there's no doubt in my mind you're going to turn pro, but I think you're going to wind up being a better trainer than you are a bodybuilder because
Yeah.
he had it. I mean, he used we used to do Anabolic Academy together.
Hmm.
And I used to ask him in-depth questions. It was just boom off the top of his head where, I would have to research it before I
Yeah.
actually, had the answer. All right. So, I don't know, and nobody really knows how Danny passed. So if you want to explain, go right ahead.
So, Danny had an enlarged heart, and when we were in Mexico, he was working with another coach this time, and a lot of it, basically, there was some instructions that he gave me while we were in Mexico that if, like, for whatever reason, the paramedics would take him or whatever, just he would always tell me, just tell them not to. I don't know. He gave me some notes on what not to do because he already felt like something was going to happen or something was going on. His fear was always to get on the airplanes once he would compete. And I remember the last plane ride that we took was from Florida. I think it was Nationals. And he was uh, he was just not feeling good. So he let I believe he let the lady next to us know that if he just asked her, "Do you have aspirin for any reason?" And she's like, "Yeah, I actually have two of them." So he took them. So he was feeling very sick on the airplane ride. This time that we got back from Mexico, I couldn't be with him because we had separate tickets.
Mm,
He was already in Mexico. He had been in Mexico for like a month before I went to his competition. So when we were returning, we couldn't get the same ticket. So he kept on telling me, I don't feel good. I'm not feeling good at the airport. And I told him, let's just wait until we get to San Francisco and we see what we do.
mm,
He said, okay. So he's like, it sucks that you're not going to be with me because, it was kind of like I was his nurse too.
mm.
So, and I'm like, yeah, but it's just a couple hours. And we're literally saving like almost $2,000 by doing this.
Ah, I see.
So he's like, okay, okay. So we met in San Francisco. And when I saw him, he looked kind of pale. He didn't look good. His mom tells me that while he was at the airport waiting for his flight, that he called her too and told her, Mom, I'm not feeling good.
Hmm.
So once we got back, my birthday was July 8th. So as soon as we got back, well, he proposed to me in Mexico. So on July 8th, which was my birthday, he proposed July 4th. So we were still in Mexico on July 4th. On July 8th, oops, sorry,
That's
nugget.
okay.
Um, on July 8th, we went out for my birthday for dinner. And, we were talking about our plans. We were going to get married, wanted to buy a home. And he went and asked my dad for my hand. And my dad is Mexican. He understands English, but he doesn't speak English.
Mhm.
So Danny on his notes on his phone, he had like a whole little like speech to tell my dad in Spanish. And he did. He saw my parents. My parents had Nugget. They were watching her, so we picked her up. And then we went home. And he I told him, I'm really tired and I want to see my kids tomorrow. Um, I'm just gonna go to sleep.
Right.
And he said, okay, don't worry, I'm gonna unpack. And I told him, okay. But he did look like he was like he could barely breathe. Like he was like walking around and he was like I know that sometimes it was hard for him to breathe, but this time it was like even worse. And I told him, "Are you okay? Why don't you just lay down? You can unpack tomorrow." He was very happy to get back, and he's like, "No, no, no. Let me just unpack, and then I'll see you in bed right now." So he kissed me goodnight, and he said, "I love you." It was probably like 1:30 in the morning, and the next day, I'm looking for him everywhere, and he's in our bathroom dead. And I'm touching the bed, seeing if he's there. He would wear a CPAP machine to sleep.
Yeah.
So I see the thing that goes on his nose on the bed, and I'm like, where is he? The bathroom's light is on, and he's there. And I mean, he was 300 pounds, and he was all muscle. He had just competed. I couldn't move him. I couldn't turn him around. The dispatcher was like, "Can you get him on his back?" I'm like, "I can't. There's no way."
Right, right, right.
So I went upstairs, called my neighbor. He tried to help. He couldn't. And they moved me and the dog out of the way, the paramedics. Um, and then all I hear is no pulse. He has no more pulse. And I just went blank and I left. I don't think I went outside the house. I don't know where I was. And the cop was like, just stay here. Don't worry. We'll figure this out. Stay here. Like he was scared that I was gonna go and do something.
Mhm.
So I told him, no, I'm okay. I just want to get my dog out because she was going crazy.
Mhm.
And it was his dog. So
Yeah.
obviously the dog was looking for him. So after that, they say he has no pulse. I call his mom, and they were on a vacation in Carmel. So they drove back from Carmel to San Francisco. And yeah, from there, uh, then obviously they told us it was a heart attack. So he probably had a heart attack like around 5 in the morning. And I woke up at 9.
Wow.
Yeah.
I am so sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
Oh, that is I can only imagine how that affected you at the time. I can only imagine.
Yeah. So,
Uh, um, Danny did like to push the envelope when it came to the performance enhancement drugs.
yeah.
He did like that. We would tease him one time. We would tease him and we would bring up the story all the time. Because there were these diuretics that he would use before a contest, and he used like 3 times the amount that Milos wanted him to use.
Hmm.
Was that ever a concern for you?
It was, especially obviously before he competed. I would see how he would get his mood, everything. But when I started dating him, I met him in this sport.
Mm.
And I always said, I'm never going to be the type of woman to tell him, you can't do this, you can't do that.
Right.
Because he was never like that with me. Like, if I liked shopping, he's like, go ahead, take
Right,
me.
right, 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 right,
He's
right.
like, do whatever. He's like, he would never stop me from doing whatever I wanted. So why should I?
Right.
And so yeah, I would see everything he would do, and I would just, be like, okay, just let me know if you need any help, or
Yeah, yeah, right, 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 right. Well,
oh
I mean, in your defense, it was this the first almost pro national level bodybuilder you ever dated or wherever this
yeah.
is. Yeah, so you don't know what's a lot and what's not. It was probably normal to you. And
Well, it was not normal.
no, I know what I mean, but you were probably like, well, this is
Yeah.
apparently this is probably bodybuilding and they all probably do this,
Yeah.
you know. Um and there have been a lot of deaths in the past. I mean, we saw Rich Piana pass. We saw George the Bull pass. We've seen Dallas McCarver pass. Of course, we saw Doug Fouché pass. And unfortunately, Danny is in that category now. Are you are you comfortable speaking about his past? Because he did have to battle some demons.
Yeah, I am. I just don't know much about when it comes to like drugs
Yeah.
like that. But yeah.
I do remember Danny talking about that he was homeless at one point, living on the streets in San Francisco. I do remember him telling us because I had an actual special, um, I had an actual special episode about this, about how people that have had demons in the past use bodybuilding, and bodybuilding kind of helps them through it. And it
Mhm.
was Danny, Doug Fouché, and it was this girl Nicole Sullivan who had a bad history, and she found bodybuilding, and she fixed herself like Danny and Doug had done. Do you think? I don't know what kind of drugs in the past he was using. Do you know? I mean, when I'm talking about the recreational stuff.
I know he was heroin. Um I think a lot of that.
Yeah,
um I'm not sure exactly which ones,
yeah,
but
yeah,
I do know he was very heavy on drugs
yeah,
which that's why he was homeless, because obviously he didn't have a reason to be really well off. And but obviously the the addiction was harder at
sure.
that point for him.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And that was probably the only way he can get it. So yeah, that's the reason why he was probably homeless. And I believe it was in Oakland because he
yeah.
lived
Oh, okay,
in Cisco. Yeah.
okay, okay.
So
So
maybe Oakland was easier to get drugs. I don't know.
yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah.
I know LA, I know California in general has the highest population of homeless, in any major city, LA, San Fran, so on and so forth, which is, kind of stinks for California because California is a beautiful state.
I know. I mean, for San Francisco is horrible.
Yeah, I've heard terrible, terrible stories. Um, when you met him, was he already clean and sober?
Yeah, yeah, he was. He was clean and sober. He would always have his meetings,
Yeah,
like basically just kind of like a sponsor, I believe it was that
yeah,
we see. And and he had a counselor that would also call him, which she has my name too. So it was kind of funny because sometimes it was like his therapist, um, and then he would say that I was his second Angela therapist.
yeah.
And it was like, oh man. But yeah, no, so he was sober, and but I because obviously my brother was his best friend, my brother knew the what Danny had been through,
Mhm.
and he wouldn't tell me obviously don't date him or stay away from him, but he would just say you know if you're ever offered anything, just say no.
Right. Oh, I see. I see.
And I was like, yeah, that's not me.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Did he ever tell you the story about how he became sober, how he became clean and sober? Because I don't, he never explained that part to me. I know, we were pretty close, and I know I never asked him how he became sober.
I he was very strong when it came to his addictions, I guess, because for sometimes he would well when I started dating him, he always had a what is it, the vape pens?
Yes.
Okay, so he always had that with him, and for me it was like I hated that pen.
Hmm.
So and I wouldn't tell him, but sometimes I would be like it kind of annoys me if you're like, doing it around me or whatever. It doesn't annoy me, but I just don't like it. And he's
Right.
like, it's not supposed to smell. And I'm like, but it still does. I don't,
Yeah, yeah,
they
yeah.
smell. So,
Yeah, I'm not a fan of those things either.
yeah, no,
Right.
and it does smell. And he's like, okay. So then from one day to another, he's like, he just stopped it. And I was even worried about his pen. I was like, where's the pen? Because he would get so crazy when he couldn't find it. And that day, I'm like, oh my God, where's his pen? I haven't seen him with it.
Mhm.
He's like, no, I just stopped. I threw it away. So he was like if he would tell himself that he was going to stop something, he would.
Right.
He and that's how dedicated he was to this sport because for me it's hard to stop eating, junk food.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And
No,
for
I
him,
get it. Yeah.
like no problem. I
Yeah.
could be eating something bad in front of him and he's like it doesn't bother me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he was always like very disciplined
Mm.
when it came to a lot of things. And I think maybe drugs was one of them. Like if he would say, I'm just not going to do it, I'm not going to do it.
I see. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, but I think that bodybuilding, I'm not trying to say anything bad about bodybuilding, but
Go
I
ahead. Believe me,
think
there's
that,
plenty of bad to say about it. And I'll be the first one to say it. Go ahead.
but I do think that it played a big role on his addiction
But
because, um, because of bodybuilding, I feel like he was never able to be completely clean.
I see what you mean. Okay. It was kind of replacing one addiction for another.
Yeah, yes. And but it's like what can you do?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Were you ever concerned about his past and about bodybuilding while you were dating him?
I wasn't, no, because for me it was actually fun. I used to enjoy it. I used to enjoy his prep time. Not when it was getting to the point that he was like starving.
Right.
Obviously he would get so grumpy.
Oh, that's the worst. I know.
Yeah, but I met Milos. I went to Vegas and recorded Milos and hit, Danny's exercise, and Milos was great, and it was very fun. So I enjoyed it. But Danny, since I started dating him, he would always tell me, "I'm gonna die young. I'm gonna die young." And his mom says that he would always tell her that too. And I guess it was a couple months before he passed, he would always tell her, if something were to happen to me, just take care of Angela.
Right.
It was so weird how her and I were just kind of like prepared for this because he would always tell us that. So I don't know.
Yeah, it seems it's strange, but I think when people are on the edge, when they're on the verge and death is nearby, they probably don't understand what's happening, but they know it's coming.
Wow.
Because like when my father passed, um like a week before he passed, and we're talking 20 years ago, I was still living home with my parents, and he came home and he said, he goes, I'm going in for a test for pancreatic cancer. If I have pancreatic cancer, it's over. I'm done. I remember him telling me that. I remember my godmother before, my father's name was John, obviously, and everybody called him Johnny. And I remember my godmother saying to my mother when she before she went into the hospital, "I'm going to see Johnny. I'm going to see Johnny." And one of my father's best friends, Phil, when he passed, same thing. I'm gonna be with my friend John. And I think there is something that happens that you just know it's coming, and you don't know. I think probably the majority of people can't articulate it. As intelligent and as aware Danny was, I don't think the average person can articulate it because it's probably a feeling that you've never felt before.
Mhm.
That you're like, what is this? But you kind of like, oh, maybe it's coming. Now, that being said, how has Danny's family been with you since then?
Oh, they've been amazing.
Yeah.
Usually they say like keep the mother-in-law far from you,
Yeah.
In my case, it's like, how can I get her to be closer?
Right, right,
She's
right,
been like the best friend. She's been there for me when, it's been late and I'm just crying and I miss him. And, being close to his family is kind of like a part of him.
right. Oh, of course.
So I just really like never wanted to separate from them, but obviously I have my kids, I have my life and my job, and my in-laws are actually retired, so they're traveling all the time. They're actually in New York right now.
Oh, really? Okay.
So that's why I have Nugget.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, so we share her basically. They have her most of the time because obviously with me she'll be at home all by herself.
Yeah,
But when they travel, I try and help as much as I can.
of
And
course.
yeah, and it's fun and it's nice. And especially because she didn't really get to say bye to him in a way. I don't want her to feel like she's abandoned.
Right, 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 right.
So, but she's been good and she's loved. But they've been very supportive. My in-laws have been, I mean, Danny and I didn't get to get married, but for me, they're always going to be my in-laws.
Right, right,
And Danny was an only son.
mm,
So he didn't have any more they didn't have any more kids.
right, right,
So after Danny is like I kind of keep track on them. Like, where are you guys going now? Let me know what airplane, airport, whatever you guys are gonna go to because like they'll go on trips for months.
well, they retire. Yeah, right.
Yeah, and it's like, where are you guys now? And
Good for them.
now I'm like, oh, okay. Well, let me know. I mean, I need to know what's going on.
Yeah,
And Danny actually, well, his mom had some property. So I always tell her, keep me posted. I'll go check it out, do
right.
what I do. Because obviously it's like, Latinos have a ton of family. So
Mhm.
it's weird for me to see like it was just them three.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, they've been super supportive and I'm so happy and I'm thankful to God that, they're there or
Right,
else it would have been even worse for me.
right. How old was Danny when he passed?
32.
Oh,
Yeah. So
jeez.
his birthday is actually on the 17th of this month. So in a couple days. So he would have been 33.
And if you don't mind me asking, how old are you now?
Me, I'm going to be 37.
Okay, all right. Yeah, that's way, way too young. Way too young. Just this is more of a curiosity question. And I know it's been only a year. Um, do you think you're going to be able to date in the future, or have you went on a date since then?
No,
No.
I don't think that honestly like this trauma, it basically trauma that I suffered
Yeah.
and how his dad always tells me like you took one for the family because they didn't see him. They didn't go through all of this.
Yeah.
The one that called the paramedics. I was the one that obviously found him, and I was the one that had to move our things from our old apartment,
Mhm.
find a new place because I obviously didn't want to live there.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
just going into that bathroom was like it wasn't that it was scary or anything like that, but it was just like reliving the trauma all over again.
Of course. Of course.
And I was like, I need to be out. I can't stay here. So that I've never had somebody so close to me pass, other than obviously my nephew.
Right.
But when it's your partner, is something that, wow, like, I don't know. I just don't wish that on anybody. And the way Danny was with me, he was, I mean, till now, like, I have his cell phone and he had so our eyes would open our phones. So when he passed, his mom was like, I can't get his phone to open. I need to call certain people. I need to do this. And my eyes were the only ones that would, like, the face recognition was the
Oh,
only
yes, yes, yes.
able to open his phone. So she would bring me the phone so I could open it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And he was very faithful. He was, I mean, and, for the body that he had, I was just like, oh my gosh, maybe there's a girl like after him at the gym or something like that. But
I think everybody's girlfriend or wife thinks that.
right, it's like, oh my gosh. So no, but he would even like there was girls that would want to take pictures with him and he would be like, no, I have a girlfriend. I would be
Right?
like,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
and I would be like, no, no, go take pictures with them. Go. In Mexico, I was like, oh my God, no, 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 baby, take pictures with them. No,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
don't worry about me. I'm like,
yeah,
I'll take them.
yeah, yeah.
He was very honest, faithful, and he would treat me literally like a queen.
Yeah.
And
Well, you treated him like a king.
yeah, he
Did
was my everything.
did did.
And so yeah, so I don't think I feel like now I want to be by myself. I He gave me so much love that I think I'm good.
Yeah, but it's gonna take some time. You know,
Yeah,
it's gonna take a lot of time. You've been through hell and back. But how are you doing now?
I'm good. I'm still at my same job, and obviously I live close to work. My son's in school. My daughter just graduated on Friday, so
Mhm.
she graduated high school. So I mean, it's mostly like just wanting to spend more time with my kids, which are actually teenagers now,
Right, right, right.
and enjoying them as much as I can. I mean, Danny and I were gonna have a baby. I actually lost a baby. We had a miscarriage maybe like a year before he passed, and he was the happiest. Nugget was the one that was basically because of Nugget we found out that I was pregnant.
What do you mean?
So whenever I was in the bed, she wanted to be on my belly.
Oh,
And
really?
on my belly, and Danny was like, something's weird, and he was always like Googling everything.
Yeah.
So he Googled like, why does my dog want to be on my girlfriend's belly all the time? And he's like, I'll be back. I'm gonna go to Walgreens.
Right.
Goes to Walgreens, brings back like 10 pregnancy tests. And the first one I took, it's like, oh, you're pregnant. And his eyes were like, he started crying. He was red. He's like, oh my God, I don't know what we're gonna do. Like, this is so exciting. And I was crying, like, oh my God. And he was very excited.
Yeah,
So,
of course. That's a beautiful moment.
yeah, it was. But obviously, I didn't know I was pregnant, and we had gone to Napa. So we went into the mud baths in Napa, which is very, very warm.
Mhm.
And I wasn't feeling good that day. And I was like, something's going on. So I had the miscarriage that night.
Oh,
Yeah, because obviously I didn't know I was pregnant.
yeah. Yeah. Okay. I see what you're saying.
So I don't know if it was the heat. I don't know what it was, but yeah, so that
How
didn't.
far along were you at that point?
The doctor said I was probably a month. So
Oh,
I was very it was very
it was very soon. Yeah.
yeah.
They say not to say anything till how many days,
I
right?
don't I think it was like 3 months.
Yeah, they say not to say anything until like 3 months or something like
Yeah.
that, just so you know you're out of the woods. Um, I am really happy that you're doing better now. I truly am. Because Danny was a gem. He really was. He was a hidden gem, especially in the world of bodybuilding. I mean, he would. I remember I had Jose Raymond on with Danny, and Jose Raymond didn't know who Danny was, and Jose Raymond was like, being funny and busting balls, and he's like, who's that? Who's talking about Danny? Because all the other guys he knew. He knew Jason
Yeah.
Arns. He knew the other guys. He knew I think Carlos Thomas Jr. was on. And I was like, that's Danny. You want to know why I have him on? And I asked him some crazy question about bodybuilding and performance enhancement drugs. And I was like, go into detail. And Danny just rattled it off. And I was like, that's why he's here.
Yeah.
And
Was
even Jose Raymond was like, I have no idea what the hell he just said.
yeah, he was very good at that. He loved
Yeah,
it.
it was fantastic. Um, Angela, I am, you know, I'm very happy. I wish this, obviously, we all wish this would never happen, but I'm very happy you're doing better. You look healthy.
Mm.
So I'm, how is your son, Junior, doing without him?
He's doing good. Obviously, he has his dad, and during summertime, he spends a lot of the time with his dad.
Good.
And it's I would try and distract him from when he would get depressed, or he wouldn't get depressed, but when he would get off of school every day, Danny was there to help him with math because I am not good at math.
Yeah,
So
I remember him saying,
so he would be like, "Hurry up, get your pencil. We're gonna study." So
excuse
obviously now it's like I had to hire a tutor.
me.
So we don't have Danny and things like that. Like he was like his playing buddy.
Yeah.
So, but it's like he's a kid. It's not that he forgets it,
They
but
they get over it quicker.
yeah, like I have my basketball, I have this, I have that. And,
Yeah.
there's times that I start crying, or there's times that I pick him up from school and I have my sunglasses on, and my son's like, "You've been crying, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Okay." And he'll hug me and he's like, "I'm here for you."
Oh,
But,
he's a little man.
yeah, yeah. Since Danny passed, he sleeps with me in my bed, which is bad, but I'm just like,
That's okay. For now, it's fine. For now,
for
it's
now it's fine,
right.
yeah.
For now,
But
he wants to protect his. He wants to protect and be there for his mother, and that's
yeah,
what. He sounds
yeah,
like he's going to grow up to be a great man. That's for sure.
yeah. And then he always says, Danny left me in charge of Nugget. And
How old is he? How old is his youngest?
he's gonna be 12.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, gonna be 12. So he understands, and obviously he will always miss him. He's very close with Danny's dad, John.
Okay.
He loves John. That's like his new playing buddy. Well, they've always been close, but now it's like I'll take him over, and they love hanging out with each other. John is a very big part of our lives,
Good.
and he's obviously like the tough one that his mom and I, get sentimental and start crying. He's probably like, "Oh, these girls."
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Has to hold it down for us, but they're amazing. And how I told you, like there's t-shirts that I have of Danny that I've been trying to keep like them smelling like him. There's one of your I believe it was the podcast he would do
Oh
with.
my God. Yes, we took a picture
Yeah.
together. He had it on. Yeah, when he came to New York. That's right.
So I
Oh,
have them here, and
you
then I
still have it? Oh, that's
I
great.
yeah, have them here. I smell them occasionally, and I don't like smelling them so much because then I'm just like looking. Obviously, I want him to be here, so it gets kind of like I had to stop sleeping with them because it was too much.
Yeah.
And even his ashes to this day, I just can't. It's hard for me.
Yeah. Where are they? The ashes.
So his parents have a big part of him. I have another part of him,
Okay. All right.
and Junior has a little bit of him. But for me, that's even hard. And just to know that, you know, the man that he was, the body, all that he worked for, and just to know that that's how we end up as humans, it's just really sad.
Yeah.
And it's not even just that, it's just I don't know. It's really hard for me to whenever I at his parents' house and they have a big thing with his ashes, it's hard for me. I cry.
Of course. Of course.
And obviously I want him here, but what can we do?
Well, that's what family is for. Family helps you get through those hard times. There is, and what happens is you realize how precious family is during times of chaos, during
Yeah.
times of tragedy. You don't realize it until that happens, and you say to yourself, "Wow, I'm very lucky to have these people in my life right now." So as tragic as it is, it sounds like you have a lot of loving family members that are helping you get through this, and my heart goes out to you, Angela, and I'm really happy that you came on and talked about this. You are welcome to come on anytime.
Oh, thank you.
And that being said, I'm also, you already know, I am a DM away.
Yes.
Just message me and I get right back to you, okay?
Yeah.
That's never an issue. And all the love in the world and all the respect in the world to you, and I
Oh,
praise you for being such a strong woman and getting through this. And I know Danny would be proud of you.
yeah. I'm trying to keep basically his legacy, everything that he worked for, and how much he loved bodybuilding.
Mm,
How you said he knew everything about it,
mm,
and all his followers that have been reaching out to my personal Instagram. It's not even his Instagram, to my personal
yeah,
Instagram, because they know I was his fiance. And sometimes well, that's why I'm telling you, I felt sad, and I felt like if he was here, he would have been like, "Man, Angela, why can't you answer them?"
yeah, yeah.
Like, what's going on? Why don't you answer my fans? So that's why I was like, it's time. I can talk now without crying, and it's like,
I'm
it,
glad that you chose me as the
of
person to
course.
speak out about it. I really, really, I can't admire you enough for it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Of course, Angela. We'll talk soon.
Okay, John, take care. Say hi to your wife from me.
I will, definitely. All right. Have a good night.
Bye.